All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show. On the road, our trip to spring training. Brought to you, of course, by Alomar Marina and Novato Chevrolet. We'll talk about more about them in just a second. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle, our title sponsor as well. Check them out. They're in Corte Madera. They're in Emeryville. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out, and they do run out. So get there early, get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. All right, the story of the day, Matt Barrows of The Athletic, Niners beat reporter, saying that if Tariq Woolen, formerly known as Tariq Woolen, now known as Reek Woolen, cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks, if he does not re-sign with Seattle, the Niners could be his destination. Now, there's talk the Eagles want him bad. Jacksonville is supposedly in the mix. The Jets are a team that, reportedly may jump at him as a replacement for Sauce Gardner, who they just traded away to the Colts. So let's talk a little bit about why I think, this makes sense for the 49ers. One, I really do believe if you ask that question, what would Eddie D do? Eddie D would pillage Seattle's free agents. I think in that era, when they took on Dallas, they took Ken Norton away from Dallas, and that was a good way to close the gap on Dallas. You're not going to close the gap if they continue to get better. And, if they have some special players that you feel like you can take away in a cap sport, it's probably a good thing to do. The two guys that to me make the most sense would be Boye Mafe, the defensive end, who the Niners obviously need as much pass rush as they possibly can come up with. They were dead last in the NFL with 20 sacks. But Reek Woolen, I think, makes a lot of sense as well. When you look at what the number of picks the Niners have, they're going to need to, they don't seem like they like Renardo Green. I would imagine he's going to be moved during the draft at some point. So you're going to need another corner. You got Upton Stout, you got Demo Lenore, you've got Darrell Luter, you've got potentially Chase Lucas as a restricted free agent. The draft class this year for corners, it's got some really good players. I like Dalen Everett from Georgia quite a bit, but it really thins out. I don't like a lot of the day three corners that much. And if you don't get a corner, in the first, second, or third round, I love a D'Angelo Pons. I think he's one of the best prospects in the draft. If you don't get a Pons early on, it could be rough as far as trying to get a corner. So I think going into veteran free agency and maybe going big splash Reek Woolen would be a nice play for the Niners for a lot of reasons. One, he's 27 years old. He's on your rival team. He's got tremendous speed. He was clocked at 4.26 coming out of Texas San Antonio. This is a really interesting player. This guy has got tremendous speed and tremendous length. You don't see that many guys that can run sub 4.3 and also are 6'4" with 34-inch arms. And when you have 34-inch arms and you can run sub 4.3 and you've got that kind of crazy length and speed, you can suffocate people at the line of scrimmage. And this guy is absolutely tough to beat and tough to get off the line of scrimmage against. You can't beat the jam against Reek Woolen. He is a tough guy to get off the line against. He's got tremendous length. He's a freak athlete. He's one of the freakiest athletes in the league. This guy was a wide receiver at Texas San Antonio and then transitioned while in college from wide receiver to cornerback. And so, I think anybody who looked at him coming out said, yeah, the length and the athleticism that is there, but it's going to take some time before this guy's ready to really contribute. And then he comes out as a rookie in 2022, and he had 6 interceptions. And I think right then people were like, oh, okay, this is, a ready-made prospect. But you forget he's only been playing cornerback for a short amount of time. So have there been bumps in the road in Seattle? Yeah. Have there been times where he's had lapses in concentration? Yeah. Has he had some costly penalties at times? Yeah. Has he, is he still in the kind of the developmental stages of who he is as a football player? In many ways, yes, to that question. So, it has not just been like a straight shot to the top. Otherwise, Seattle would bring him back. Now, they may still bring him back. They got a lot of cap room. They drafted him. but something tells me they will let him go and go down the road with what they have. They're spending a lot of money in their secondary with Devin Witherspoon. They're obviously going to pay, Eman Worry eventually. So I think they're looking. They're paying Julian Love a boatload. So you can only pay so many guys. For the 49ers, they've got a young secondary. The only guy they're really paying big dollars to back there is Lenore. So Woolen maybe would fit from their cap perspective. I think he definitely fits from the perspective of they want to be better against the run and better on the edges. And it's a passing league and it's about explosives. And if you can, have explosive plays and limit the explosive plays of your opponent, you're going to win. So I think Tariq Woolen fits in that regard as well. All right, let's shout out a couple more thoughts on Woolen. But first, thanks to Alomar Marina, voted best lunch spot in Sacramento. Sacramento sports fans, game day destination, floating on the Sacramento River while you eat. That's right, Alomar Marina, the best kept secret in Sacramento. Alomar Marina, great eats, great vibes, great games. Voted Sacramento's favorite 14 times. I had lunch up there. Awesome spot. They're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. They're open Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. 5999 Garden Highway. Try the shrimp tacos, the lobster roll, all excellent. Voted best specialty cocktails in Sacramento. Once again, Alomar Marina, 5999 Garden Highway. Proud sponsor of the Krug Show's trip to spring training, and we appreciate them for being aboard. And also thanks to Novato Chevrolet. Go talk to my friend David Corral. He is the guy to go to. He'll give you an amazing deal. Just say you know me, Larry Krueger. Say you're a fan of the Krug Show. Go in there. David Corral will do the rest. You'll get a steal of a deal. Novato Chevrolet, awesome dealership. Gus is the owner, tremendous guy. They've been in their same location there in Novato for decades. Novato Chevrolet. Go say hi to David Corral. Tell him Krug sent you. They got a great selection, great service, amazing family dealership. David Corral's your guy. He'll give you a screaming deal. Tell him you know me. And I'm not joking about that. Go see David Corral at Novato Chevrolet. All right, couple more thoughts on Tariq Woolen. Matt Barrows says NFL executives say that if he hasn't re-signed with Seattle, the Niners are maybe atop his list. He's atop their list, I think, is probably more to the point. And they're going to go after him, and they're going to go after Tariq Woolen. Okay, so why is this such a good player? Because he transitioned from wide receiver to cornerback late, there was going to be bumps in the road. Because there were bumps in the road, Seattle may not bring this guy back. When I say bumps in the road, there's just been some inconsistencies. There's been penalties, there's been mistakes. He's had breakdowns, but he's an amazing talent. This level of talent typically wouldn't get to free agency, and I would go after him. I mean, you're talking about tremendous length. This is the kind of guy you can put on another team's number one and say blanket him, just blanket him. This is also a position where you might be able to find some other guys late, but they're going to be more developmental type players. And you need somebody who can play right away. It's a rush and cover game in the NFL. So on defense, there's really two things that you really got to have. You got to get to the quarterback. So you got to get pass rushing tackles and defensive ends that can bend that edge. Those guys you got to pay. Those guys you got to get. Okay. Then you got to cover. So you got to have corners that are legit with big time speed and length and talent. So that's where I would spend my money, on the corner and up front on defense. You can go with younger linebackers who can run and hit. You can go with younger safeties. You can fill in on other spots with some younger players. But to me, the dominant long corner who can shut down an opposing wide receiver, man, that's the way to go. And this guy's Tariq Woolen's been good ever since his rookie year. 6 interceptions as a rookie. Excellent ball skills, excellent tackling skills, 34-inch arms, got incredible length. As I said, transition from wide receiver to corner late, so he's still getting better and better and better. I think the other key in free agency is you always got to ask yourself, are you getting a guy who's already played his best football and has very good little football to good football ahead, or are you playing a guy who's just now playing his best football? And I think Tariq Woolen is definitely right now getting ready to play his best football. So once again, thanks to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Alomar Marina. Thanks to Novato Chevrolet. Thanks to our good friends also at Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. And thanks to you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube from hot Scottsdale.